All right, just getting off the Berlin, heading to Factory.Berlin. I just saw a father jump onto the U-Bahn train tracks to grab his kid's ball. That's dedication right there. That's the kind of dedication that inspires me to build with AI all weekend. But I don't recommend doing that. That's rather dangerous. All right, where do we go? This way. Don't get run over, Max. I made it to the factory. We've checked in. Marcel's hobnobbing with some of the other teams, seeing what ideas they're going to be working on. We're getting a quick coffee in, and then we're kicking off in a few minutes. The hacking begins soon. I'm also looking. Hey, Marcel.
Hey.
Ready to hack today?
This is like the open ceremony. Really curious what the other people are building. I feel kind of competition here.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here. We're looking forward for a nice weekend of hacking. And first things, thank you from the Tech.Berlin team that you're all here. We are trying to organize more and more tech events in Berlin. Everything for developers, for tech entrepreneurs.
Bella and Nima from Tech.Berlin basically carried this hackathon, so big applause to them. Bella, thank you so much. I'm Emmanuel, I'm from Factory.Berlin. In case you don't know Factory runs the building you're currently standing in. But we are so much more. We are a business community that's curated, which means people have to apply, consisting of artists and entrepreneurs. And what we want to do here in Berlin, we want to create meaningful events, meaningful exchange between people.
There's 24/7 access, so you can stay here the whole night. You can, I don't know, if someone of you brought like a sleeping bag or something. That's the rough agenda. So Sunday, 2 p.m., team submission deadline. At 2, the jury will also go around and talk with the teams, get the demos. The jury will then decide for 7 finalists who will have the chance to prepare a little bit of their demo and a more proper pitch. This will be at 5 p.m.
Opening ceremonies and all that kind of stuff's done. Now we just open up the laptops and like, what now? It's the scary part.
You know, we are not really from the domain knowledge. So I think the next steps would be figuring out what insights should the product insight agent give us.
It sounds like at a high level, we're figuring out the tasks that it's can do. One thing we discussed, I was watching our, the last thing we did, and we were talking about how one way to structure it the user is going to ask some kind of question or ask for some sort of answer, that we then run that through some sort of intent router and match that to a specific task. But once we infer that you want to do this kind of task, we can build an agent that just focuses on that task, because creating some single multi-agent that can do it all is just going to be
too ambitious.
It's too ambitious. It's also probably not a best practice. Like if this product were to mature, you probably want to maintain a few separate agents that do that specific thing well, because then you decouple the identify what the user wants from the do that very well. Let's come up with what those tasks could be. Because then we can go task by task and we could de-scope.
Top is our kind of supervisor agent who takes the raw input of the user and figures out how can I help with the question. And we just provide this agent like the tools or provide them other agents. So this agent can give you access to user loggings, user behavior stuff. This agent can crunch numbers, right? And the top agent, supervisor agent, like figures out the way.
I think the way we could structure this too, I think modularity is going to be important here. Some of the things you were talking about, I see those as being tools that different of these task-based agents could consume. They're like, oh, for this task, I need to do this. I need to pull a user. And maybe there's going to be an agent that can be used as a tool by other agents that knows how to pull a user. Or maybe not at that level of abstraction, but whatever. So I think step 1, tell me if you agree. We set up the notion and we got to come up with, we have to do a little research, but what those top couple tasks we want to tackle. We don't have to necessarily do all of them, but have a list of tasks. Let's rank order those so we know which one is our highest priority, lowest priority task.
Definitely.
And then come up with the high level tasks outside of that, because I could see if there's going to be a little UI UX to define, more on the UX, like for onboarding. What information do we need to grab from the user? I can flow that out while you're researching, maybe validating, like for the first task. Okay, let's have an agent crunch the numbers, do a spike on something like that. How does that sound?
Sounds awesome. Let's start, right?
Yeah, let's make that Notion page.
Let's go.
So our thinking right now is we're not sure exactly how we're going to do that, but we need to first break down the things that we want our AI to understand.
Yeah.
Then we can figure out how we're going to model that.
Exactly. I think that is also like a really solid approach. We have the challenge that it's really, really domain knowledge heavy. And I think starting with domain knowledge prompt part, super interesting. And I think we also figured out that way, we are also thinking visually how the agent should be structured. We now have this, how would an AI product analyst insights agent work from a prompt perspective, and then we can transfer this kind of how we structure the prompt to different AI agents and give them like the right tools. So I think that is a good way to start it, and then we can just enhance like in the details. But having those, I think, four pillars, as you mentioned, user, account, feature, and funnel is like a pretty good structure how the main agent would also structure its task. So it's also how we structure our workflow, right?
And one thing we were talking about right before we started recording was the idea that we're going to create a schema, and maybe that's what I could do next is like create a schema out of this.
Yeah.
Of these are our standard entities, these are the standard property attributes of these entities, and these are the relationships.
Yeah.
And then we were thinking of when we actually architect this, we could probably decouple the part of the workflow that interacts with PostHog and maps, like for your specific PostHog, to these entities. So that'll be a separate logic. And then once that mapping is done, then we have our AI agents that interact with those standard mappings.
Yeah.
What we create by that is almost like an integration with PostHog, so that if we want to add another tool in future, we can recreate that logic, make it work for that integration. And then we have all of our integrations basically standardizing that. So our AI agents have a standard language that's agnostic to something like PostHog.
Oh, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of PostHog, I was setting up their demo. They have the Hogflix demo. And that is also where I think I have bad news for you. We actually don't have exactly a SaaS application as example data. We have a Netflix clone.
Okay. Well, Netflix is SaaS.
Oh, do you think? I think that we
It's a
have
subscription and
there. Let's think about what are KPIs for insights. And I think for Netflix, it's naturally watch time and stuff. And actually, I think for most SaaS applications, you don't want to have like people watching an entity for a prolonged time. I think for regular SaaS applications, more like reach this point of watching
different.
something, right?
Yeah.
But let's see, we have this demo data and I already set it up.
Oh, yeah. By
That
the
will
way,
feed us through the 2 days.
throughout the weekend, we're staying hydrated and nourished by the beautiful flavor
Brand.
of Huel. How do you Huel? And I think the review was, it doesn't taste that shit.
Okay, you agree.
Back to it.
Having now a look at the data is like the most reasonable next step, because we have figured out like domain knowledge part kind of a thing and how we structure the thing. But now we need to marry those with the actual data.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to build an agent and then the data is completely different.
And you know
right?
what? This makes sense because we were talking about, let me create a schema of the standard data.
Yeah.
Let's create that schema when we have the demo data so we can do that
Yeah.
translation manually once, and we can validate that our schema is realistic.
Yeah.
Because
So-
if we can't map that PostHog data to our standard schema, how is an AI going to
Yeah,
do it?
they-
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
So let's go find some good demo data. Okay, Marcel, what just happened?
We had our first major breakthrough after trying to figure out for at least 1 hour. We finally have our data.
Yeah. So we got demo data in PostHog.
Exactly.
Now we got to go figure out what this data looks like, if it's like the right kind of data for us to work with. It's a Netflix clone. We were concerned that the data might not be representative of a lot of SaaSes, but it's the only demo data that PostHog has available. There's also a suspicion that it's probably pretty representative because otherwise they probably would have made a different set.
Exactly. I would also assume that now we have good insights. I think all the data that PostHog, it should be contain like all features of PostHog, so we can like
Yeah,
look it
I
up.
would assume.
And
So what I'm just finishing up a quick lo-fi flow for the onboard. We have a launchpad screen, which kind of looks like ChatGPT's screen where you can like start a prompt.
yes,
That will open up a chat trigger experience for actual tasks. So in a second, that'll be done. You can review that. So we're all aligned that we're great. This is because if we align on the UI, we have a better idea of how it all flows. We were going to create the baseline. We were going to create a very naive AI agent that just works with this data.
exactly. That is a thing.
And create the baseline sort of crap response so that we know what we can improve on.
Exactly. I think that is something that I can work on.
Yeah,
meantime,
definitely.
you're building the UI.
Yes, yep.
Also.
Perfect. So I'll do UI and schema, and then you're validating the naive approach. So we set a baseline.
Yeah.
And also so you can get an understanding of this PostHog data, because we're going to need to understand that. Because you're going to have to teach our AI how to use that.
Exactly.
Cool. Time for some coffee, though, too.
Yes.
And a smoothie. Marcel, where are we at?
I think we've figured it out, or at least an approach from the prompt side, right?
We need to make the AI understand certain concepts, and we're breaking that down. And we were using GPT to help with some of the ideas, but where we're at is we're thinking about it like insights. So there's going to be some standard entities and we're focusing on like a SaaS app right now because there's other product analytics you can do. But if we can focus on that domain, there's going to be more that's similar across these apps. So there's standard entities that we got to teach our agents to understand. Entities like users can form an account. So an account being more like a company, right? When you have like a team or something.
Yeah.
There's features and there's funnels, like people going through certain views in an app experience. These are all concepts that are important to product managers, to the folks crunching this kind of stuff. Then there's these standard entities usually have standard attributes. So like a user will have a location, usage of certain features, user attributes like the acquisition channel. These are all things that we might not necessarily have, but these are standard properties that we could teach the AI agent. And then we're going to have a step where when it's analyzing PostHog, be okay, which of these standard attributes can you infer? Maybe we'll have some steps where it has to ask user, hey, I think this is acquisition channel. Is that correct? Yes, it is. And then it can save that and remember in future that this property on this attribute. So the standard properties of each entity, like a feature, could have this as well. And then if we define standard entities with standard attributes, these then have relationships between them, right? So one or many users form an account. That's the relationship between account and user. We can teach that.
Yeah.
Users consume features. They either have used the feature or not. That's a relationship between these two entities. Users complete funnels. We can teach the AI that a funnel is usually chronological, not necessarily always, but maybe we can simplify that. We got Marcel here. He's setting up his little selfie part. He's with a koala with baby kangaroo up in there. Do it for we do it for you guys. Do it for you guys. All right. Let me finish up this webbing. Okay, so I've gotten the lo-fis done. I've shown those to Marcel, and he's signed off on those. Marcel right now is plugged in, and what he's doing is, now that we've got the demo data set up, he's going to make a naive AI agent that is pipe in the demo data and basically start asking the questions from the different tasks that we want to do. The logic behind this is that's going to be our baseline. So if we say that today it'd be rather easy for someone to pipe in the PostHog data into an AI agent and just start asking questions, let's say that's like this level of efficacy. Let's say like an actual data scientist is this level of efficacy. What we then have is these 2 points, and we need to create a solution somewhere in here, or ideally here, but if it's somewhere in here, we're demonstrating value of if you do X, Y, Z, if you set it up in this way, this is how you get better result than if you just blindly pipe in your data. So that's what he's working on now. And then an hour, we're gonna then work on defining what a standard schema will be. And that's what will teach our AI to understand these standard schemas, standard concepts. So what I'm doing now that the lo-fis are done is I'm opening up Cursor and seeing how quickly I can create HTML templates for each of the views that we have, because then we're gonna have n8n serve that HTML so that the front end is also served by n8n. So everything's done by n8n. Let's get to work.
There ain't no rest. For the wicked, I'm bad and I'm blessed. Put it to the test. For the rest, there ain't no contest. So what's next? Got me leveling up, I'm obsessed. I bring the fire like I'm possessed. My personnel and my
To be honest, Cursor is super impressive. I've been working on the front end right now, and let's just show you where I'm at. Firstly, the really cool thing about Cursor is if I go in here, in the AI chat, I'm able to provide images as context and different files in my setup. Also lots of different things. I can app mention like docs and web pages and stuff. So that's been super, super fast. I'm at the point where I've got a decent style sheet for it and set up step 1 and set up step 2. So if we look in the lo-fi, the setup steps look like this. So I fed in these screenshots into Cursor, basically did a little bit of back and forth. And so this is what we got so far. So let me I got just a test webhook in end-to-end that's just acting as a mock backend right now, so I can test this out. So we've already got front-end validation, right? So if I don't enter a URL there, it asks for that. If I click continue, what it did there in that 1 second is it pinged this endpoint, it sent that data there, and then once that was successful, it got a 200 response from the endpoint. It took us to step 2 here. So what we can do next is, when the actual endpoint returns, it can return some sort of ID or something, pass that to step 2 as a URL parameter. So what step 1 page will do is actually just open ID equals 123, something like that. So we'll have statefulness for the second step. And then this box in here is going to be an end-to-end chat trigger. The AI agent's going to figure out the questions it needs to ask the user based on their telemetry that we just analyzed. The user will answer those, and then the AI agent will say, okay, we're all done, click continue. The user will click continue, and then on to the next step. So some UX that could be improved there, but not bad, I think, for an MVP. So now I just got to knock out the dashboard page in Cursor and rig this up in a basic end-to-end workflow to have this being served from end-to-end. And then we've got pretty good velocity, I'd say, so far. Right now, it's 1:45 p.m.
Define like data schema that PostHog has, and let the agent form like own queries.
Okay.
Basically.
Oh, so you want to teach it how to use PostHog QL?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And it has also like great documentation that I'm at the moment trying to figure out. We have the filters. If you remember what we were talking before, we are like we're splitting it down to basically 4 pillars, and one of the pillars is like already funnel and user process. So QL already works on the same layer of abstraction as we do.
Nice. So it's just borrow their language, basically.
Borrow their language and teach our agent to use like these endpoints from its own queries. And they're already pretty much complex queries, right? You can check for current page views.
Nice.
You could track specific users or SODG or key country. So users from, and we don't need to think about that because we are just teaching schemas.
What if we go on the forums of PostHog and maybe manually, even if we get 10, 15 of those solutions, be like, hey, here's my question. And if the solution is the PostHog query, I could see that kind of helping our AI. Yeah. Let's see once we've got, that up and going. But.
And also, like, it's pretty much beta at the moment. Okay. So I don't have too much hope that there's so much information on there in the forums.
Okay.
I would try to kind of get the best of the documentation and put it into a prompt. And I think it turn it to an agent, not only a tool.
Okay.
Basically an agent for QL.
Okay, cool. That sounds like a good step. And even if we don't know exactly how we're all architecting this out, that sounds like a useful module that we'll be able to use. Like a lot of these other agents and stuff, knowing how to talk to a specific agent says, hey, what's the Hog UL we should run, and go run that? Cool. Good hustle. Okay, so we've been hacking. Give me some good news, Marcel. What are we doing?
AI keeps blowing our mind all day long.
Nice.
You had great success with Cursor. I was building this new agent, which is basically utilizing QL to access the data from PostHog, and it works like a charm. It really generates cool SQL queries and stuff.
Can you walk us through at a very high level the flow real quick?
So basically, we're utilizing events schema and property schema endpoints. So we are dynamically.
These are PostHog's endpoints?
Yeah, PostHog endpoints, and it gives us all the schemas. And with those schemas, our like designing agent can work, and then we have this tool which just submits the query. So with that, we have PostHog hooked up, and the queries were very great. So now the next iteration for me was, okay, now let's figure out how can parent agent handle those queries themselves, because I don't want to ask what is the lowest engaging page. I want an agent that takes this route itself, figures out what data insights can we get, and then I started to build our really naive agent.
This was the one that we're going to baseline?
And as you can see, it's most naive as you can go, right?
Just using that one tool that you just showed us.
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
Right?
There's a workflow that I just showed. And it has this prompt, which is basically giving it domain knowledge.
Can we have a peek at that?
Taking inspiration from our first prompt that we had designed in Notion and break it a bit down, and told the agent that it has access to this tool. this powerful tool, and we just labeled it data source tool because the agent doesn't need to know it's PostHog. It's for the agent. Right? So, and then I was running like the first messages, and how a user would ask, hey, we were wondering how can we improve our existing pages. Then it went domain knowledge, to all good, and had asked questions back, which is super great because with the first input it couldn't do enough. So then I was like, yeah, fuck, my page is broken, the user engagement is bad, what can we adjust? And then it generates insights. And those are literally the queries from PostHog that it took and started to do recommendations. Still, there's still junior stuff.
Sure.
But it's like our first success, right?
It's not bad for what? Almost, it's not even 5 p.m. yet.
Yeah.
Contextualize this. What you've done so far, what is that in the grand picture of what we're building?
I think we actually closed like the first loop, right?
Okay.
We hooked up the real data, give this data the agent. It actually also calculated stuff, but it's more like the SQL queries did the calculation, right? And with those valid data, with those calculated data, it starts to suggest like next steps. And I think this is like closing the big picture. And from there on, it's just, like filling in the details, giving it more tools, giving it more specific prompt and domain knowledge. And I think with that, we will be able to make it more useful, right? For me, it's already useful.
So here's a question. So if I'm looking at this lo-fi, right, we've got the multiple tasks that we want to. Would you say that this is then to ask a question? This is our generic task?
Yes.
We can make more specific versions of this that are more like maybe in the system prompt or extra context that it has for now these more heightened ones?
Exactly. Now we can build the more use cases, go for specific routing with the agent, inject more domain knowledge, or tell it use that endpoint or use this data to determine like churn analysis. So,
What do you think about this? Because I got like my front end and it's not connected at all to your system.
yes.
Let's connect my front end to what you have.
Yes.
And then we could get the onboarding done. Then in this view here, we'll have just this ask a question one working.
Yeah.
So that would open the chat trigger that you basically showed us here.
Yes.
And I'll do the little UI on that so that it wraps it in a page with like a back button stuff. And then by the end of that, we have a full loop of an app. And then from there we can decide, do we start on these guys? Do we improve this? Do we do some other sort of back-end stuff? But then we have like literally already an MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Already. Which is for me, I think we should definitely explore more, go deeper, because
Oh, absolutely. So let's get it. Well, what I sometimes see in this hackathon stuff is you keep going deeper before you wrap it up, and then you realize in the wrap up that there's other problems. So let's get the UI, the front end and the back end connected and working with this simple one, because then we know there's no question marks. That's not AI stuff, and then the rest of our time is dedicated on basically creating other tasks, improving the current task, tools for those tasks to be better. But it's all just either adding new tasks or improving the current task.
yes.
Cool.
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right, so I'm Max, and I'm not currently sponsored by Huel yet, but I'm gonna try some Huel because we got a lot of work to do, and I think we need the
Fuel, How does it taste? Let me know. What is it?
Actually, it's not so bad.
It's not so bad. I mean, you could live from that stuff, right? The whole purpose of the product.
Huel, if you want to do a super Huel me, it's basically like supersize me, but I just eat Huel for like a whole month, and then we check with my doctor. Bring it.
Proof of concept, right?
Super Huel me.
We are so full.
What time is it, Marcel?
I don't know, 7 o'clock, and we are full of pizza.
It's 7 p.m. It was like, I think 100 pizzas were delivered. If you ever want to see 100 pizzas disappear, go to Hackathon. So it's 7 p.m. I figured I mentioned that because I'm probably going to do like a 24 style countdown clock in the video, like beep, beep.
And you have to add like little tickets.
Yeah. We're well fed.
Oh, yeah.
What else? How are we looking? What are we doing?
We figured, I think we have like the lowest tier agent done, that is handling data.
And give us, what does this agent do again? Give us a quick roll up. What is?
Yeah. It's just accessing PostHog data.
Yes. And it uses, that's the one that does the PostHog QL, whatever,
exactly.
and then generates
It's
and
super
uses
dynamic. It builds its own queries, and it just answers based on the questions that you have regarding the data.
So then we have the next level where we have this agent who utilizes the data querying agent and gives him several tasks to fulfill going through a specific insight. Okay. Sits on top of that and designs like this plan, this tasks to execute by the insights agent.
That's what we were talking about at dinner, one of the things. So before we were thinking, we got the different tasks, and each task would just go to a different agent.
Yeah.
Now we realize because this low level, this base agent, whatever we call it, this one that we've worked on so far, is so good.
Yeah.
What we're thinking to try is a strategy where for the specific tasks, it's a serial agent approach. So we get an agent that, for example, has extra context. So, hey, you're about to help the user go through a churn analysis. Make sure to ask these questions from the user, and once they're answered, generate an outline for completing a task. That outline then would get outputted to our generic agent.
Yes.
The reason we're thinking about doing this is A, it's a bit more elegant. B, we don't create lots of different other agents. We can focus on one good agent that understands how to execute a good query, and then other agents and decouple the context of coming up with a good plan for specific tasks.
What is also cool with those agents is they are more focused on the specific task. If you give it one single agent a list of 10 tasks, it might be not considering each point as well as it should, and it will, with splitting up the tasks, it will handle those tasks better in detail. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. But Max,
Yes.
we hadn't only worked on the brain, right? We also have, you've been working on the UI part, right?
Yes.
Where we are.
Thanks to the power of AI.
Too much AI, really. Where are we?
Yeah, I've built the whole front end basically in Cursor. By built front end is it's sitting on HTML files in my computer, and now I'm setting up the setup endpoint that's going to serve these. So what we decided is there's one endpoint, which is a GET request, which serves the actual website. And then in the same workflow with the same route, there's another webhook that will be the backend for that flow, but it's a post request. So they can still both live in the same flow. So it makes our flows a little easier. We don't have basically double the flows. And so what I'm working on now is I've gotten it to where on the first step of the setup form, it submits that form, it adds that to a Superbase. We get the Superbase ID. In the Superbase, we're saving all the details like the PostHog URL, all the stuff that we're going to have to pull up for each query. And then it sends that ID to the second step to a URL parameter. So I'm looking it all up now, but basically I'm working on having the onboard flow complete, set the state in our Superbase database. So we're going to use Superbase for anything that we need to be stateful. And then from there, check in with you next, because then I'll have the dashboard page or the launchpad page where we need to integrate when the user's clicking on that it opens the right chat session on the stuff that you're working on now. So that might take me 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I don't know. But then soon in our next little meet, we can figure out how we're basically marrying those two.
Oh, yes.
And then we'll have it from there. We marry it. We've got an MVP. And from there, it's basically decide, do we want to focus on one task, add more? That's a great place to be at.
Yeah.
At 7:10.
It's awesome. It's fast. As low code always is, right? Let's
Yes, sir. That's that. Do you think this is enough fake typing time?
Yeah.
Are we good?
I had fake thinking time.
People actually think on a computer, they look so angry and mean. I watch a lot of user interviews. A focused human on a computer is a scary thing. We look so brain dead. Playing video games. Have you ever watched someone play Xbox or PlayStation?
Yeah.
It's
so focused.
Why'd it fail? What did you do?
No, it's yield ID expected.
It's probably with some shit that I did.
Project context is 0. This is the project ID is also 0. Oh, because it uses the first entry. Oh, we're so done.
It's using entry 1 and not entry. So the reason it failed is because we hard-coded a test value. No, that's good because we can tell our users don't do that. So don't do that.
Yeah, just delete the row and then it should work.
All right, so we're gonna delete the row. Now we're gonna ask again. Well, no, we're asking for the first time. The error never happened.
Yeah. It never happened. You cut that. You cut that, right?
Well, no, that's probably not.
Okay, what queries have been visited the last 30 days? Pretty basic queries so far.
Come on, you three beautiful dots. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yes. Dawaj. Error.
I'm so done. I'm so done with this agent.
Wait, just try again. I mean, try again.
All right. Let's try whatever.
Do we have users? That's a very important question that most product managers have to ask themselves.
Yes.
If it just replied yes, it's concise. Check. Ship it. So, is there any chance, dear readers and users, is there any chance that you would believe us if we told you that it was working?
It was working. It was perfect.
Okay, what did we change? What did we change? I was messing around. I added the ID, but that's an int. So PostHog would have intified that, sort of typecast. Engineers would call it. Wait, look, go up. Project ID is a text.
Oh, that shouldn't be so much a problem.
Because it would
before.
Okay.
But I'm more interested.
I thought I just cracked the case.
The queries always
Are they different?
unknown table.
Do we have the right PostHog? Right project? If it's unknown table, it's
Project ID, API key.
Did you tell it don't hallucinate?
We forgot. Oh, of course, we forgot.
Did you forget to hallucinate?
We did forget.
Actually?
Yeah, actually, it's not in the prompt.
That's why you need Apple's expertise in prompt engineering. If we had added that, if this fixes it,
If it's sure it fixes that. It's like prompt best practice. So last sentence. Sure.
Yeah.
We have to shot it in the face.
shouldn't we do it in all capitals? That would be an interesting content piece.
All capital, scientifically based, works better. It's really. I have the feeling that it's still not working.
Do you think?
We should.
Should we start from scratch?
No.
How we built an AI agent in 10
You know,
minutes,
like-
it was working. I think we even have video evidence.
Let's do something that we already tested. That was like which pages.
Query
Sure.
device most popular. And if we get the max agent executions, then there was some kind of regression, something.
Yeah, then something was really wrong.
The question is, I would say maybe we fix it before we for 12 hours forget about this context and come back. Just to identify the area or something. We have version history in the workflows. We're on the enterprise plan.
Yeah, but
There's a bunch of work version history. I'm just saying, if
it's really stopping to. It's not working.
at Sprint Squad, we have failed, and the next time that you see our faces, we'll have unfailed.
We unfail this.
And unfail this shit. Okay, so all we've done is change the model from 4.0 mini to 4.0.
Yes, because it was stupid.
Give it a little refresh. Nah, it's
What?
totally broken now. It's not a. Is it activated? Go to the flare.
Yes.
On and off. You know what's good about that question? If this works, that's not even like a legit question. Like pages can't churn. Okay.
It's your solid prediction. Are you the editor?
Okay, but this is good. So we're getting something. So
Okay,
this is good
yeah.
because we
Follow
have
up.
some generic questions where it's helping. We want to create a more specific churn or something, and we see it's not helping with that. So that's great because we know we can create a specific task for that. So ask one of the.
Let's figure it out. How many results do we have?
Think if you just started writing German to it, reply in German.
Most likely it will. We've actually data.
Yeah. Okay.
So now we are rolling, right?
So it's working on some simpler queries.
So let's see how many results did we have from the USA.
Come on, Hogflix.
Which
We should.
it's reasonable. It was the
Well,
same.
you know what we
number
can do?
last
You know
time.
what we can do tomorrow when we're checking that? Okay, it's good, the same number. But
Yeah.
in PostHog, run some of these queries,
Yeah,
set up some
exactly.
tables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proving this.
Okay. So
stuff.
what happened? What was broken?
We made the model
Oh,
more
we
intelligent,
picked a better model.
and we added do not.
Okay, so we did two things.
Ultimately, I think we're still running in the issue that the agent picks a table, like SQA table, which does not exist. And then it runs into error, and it keeps running into error.
And-
Because,
But we have a UI. It's
Yeah.
answering some questions. It's answering some questions correctly. It's answering some questions not well. But that's good. We got room for scope to improve the questions that it doesn't.
Hmm.
And we have a strategy with more specific sub-agent type, whatever exactly how we do it, we're not sure. But for one day, kind of easy mode, hanging out, having some snacks.
But you have
We
to show
have-
this. Basically, if you got it, like if it actually has a good run, good context, then it does its job really well.
You know,
And
Yeah, we need to make sure that those queries are more likely to be successful.
Can we try someone? And those are ask which country is user blah 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 from.
It's Denmark because it's like
No, but take this and see if it gives you the same. Like it should.
Oh,
this
yeah,
should be easy.
yeah.
I'm saying. Where is ID from? Don't get confused. You got this 4.0. Interesting, but it knew it's a user ID.
Oh, it's already told us. Oh, did it hallucinate those settings?
Can you copy this one into the Notion? That's one we should check because that's something. It's not in its understanding its context. I think it's questions like these. We're gonna figure out questions getting wrong.
Yeah.
Work back how it thought about that and see if there's a sentence of text of context that helps. Basically.
Yeah.
I think I've kind of lost count. I think it's day 28 of the AI sprint, but in any case, it's the end of day 1 of the AI Hackathon. Great push from Marcel and I. We've got the UI in a really good place, I'd say, for MVP. Some decent UX there. That's all being served by n8n, which I think is pretty cool. We've got the fallback sort of general knowledge assistant that's handling certain queries well, certain queries poorly, and queries it's messing up on. So what we're going to do tomorrow, and what we've been collecting is some of the queries it's doing poorly, so we basically have our things to improve. There's a presentation and competition. What we'll do is we'll hopefully have at least 2 tasks. So we'll have our current task, which you saw the demo of. It's working well, in some ways not, so we'll improve that. And hopefully add another task, which is more specific, so we can have a really impressive, specific task. And it could just be the churn analysis or just user segmentation. So we show it do one thing really, really well. We show it be able to handle a lot of stuff on a bell curve between well to kind of well. I think that, with the good UX, being all run from n8n, is pretty damn good for 2 days from 2 flowgrammers. So yeah. The AI squad's gonna get some well-earned rest, and we're gonna be back here bright and early-ish.
Early-ish.
At what time?
10 a.m. the latest, right?
10 a.m. at the latest. So what to make breakfast, right? So we gotta be here by like 9:45.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be late, Sprint Squad. So yeah.
I think I got a vendetta. Oh, now they call me, I seen them. All of those times getting severed. I told them all I can let up. They get not tired of me never.
Okay. Hey Marcel, how you doing?
It's working fine. Actually, well and rested.
Yeah?
I took 8 hours of sleep.
Seriously?
Yeah. I haven't edited videos until 3 a.m.
So on that note, I hope you enjoy update 09 because I got 0 sleep. Okay, it's Sunday. It's 10:21. We definitely got to get at 24 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so it's T-minus insert an AI voice here where I say the time. They have AI saved my ass in a few edits. I literally say something like, and then inside your Notion workflow, and I'm looking at Notion database. It just changed the word.
But it would be even funnier if it's like such super robotic voice.
So we got some coffee in. We had some croissant. I thought you were eating a pistachio croissant. Turns out it was guacamole.
Yes. I would have loved it with pistachio, but you know, like, you have to take what it's given right.
Where are we at?
So, we had great broken demos. Which
I was working the whole day and then it kind of got better at the end, right?
Which is like, shows like this super regular thing with AI. It's not deterministic, so whatever you put in, it could like, in some way it will error. We figured out that when looking at those errors, it's because the agent, which builds like the queries itself, like SQL queries, tries to reach some tables, some fields that don't exist. Pretty common for SQL agents. So I think prompt adjustment and also enabling the agent to iterate such queries that failed and giving the agent more hints how to fix those wrong queries, then we should be fine on this level. It's like as I mentioned, lowest tier agent.
I think on the front end, everything's done. I think I have to check like the settings and stuff. There's a few utility things. I could knock that out. But that's a predictable thing to do. I just need a 20-minute session to get that done. So I say we could do that a little later in the day. We discussed yesterday about how we want to improve we got to give it a name, this agent. What do we call this?
Dude, we don't have a name yet.
Okay, this is the foundation. This is the foundation agent.
Yeah.
Let's say. So I think, and correct me if your thinking is different on this, but we put a lot of our effort into this one basically workflow that's mainly an AI agent that can do a pretty good job at taking your question and turning it into HogQL or whatever they call it.
Yes.
If what I could do is do a little domain research on one of these tasks, churn analysis, one of these, and try to create a basically mega user message with extra context that we feed into this agent.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, hey, just do HogQL, we'll start off with it saying, if it's for churn analysis, I might have some examples of churn analyses done in HogQL, pipe that in this context, add a little extra, hey, do steps 1, 2, and 3 first, and then. And because if that works, we've got a scalable, modular way to add more tasks. And I think it's a pretty good example because on a team, that's how it works. We might have one person on the team who's an advanced AI engineer working on this like foundation model, and I'm instead doing some more domain-specific stuff and feeding it into our engine. So I kind of like that as well because, well, let's see if it works. But it's also a way that we could de-risk what we're working on. I'm working on adding a new task. You're working on improving this guy. Let's say my results don't work or it's not improved. We still have an improved AI agent that we ship as our foundation one. And potentially we get to show this cool pattern of adding extra context and with domain research and statically feeding it in, we can get a better result. What do you think?
Totally agree. Cool. I think it's like the best thing that we can do, improving what we have existing. And, first, we also wanted us to have like a little challenge. If we just go with this product, it's cool, it works. But I'm here for something greater, like enabling AI to, based on the domain knowledge, do some research itself. Because at the moment, it's seeing a question, seeing a data point from PostHog, and from an answer. But I want like several PostHog research be done by AI and then form an.
Because I think that is a far more sophisticated thing to do, to be able to reason and say, hey, I'm going to run this analysis, have a look at the results, and make an informed opinion. That sounds a lot closer. I mean, I don't think we want to insult data scientists and say, if it can do that, it's a data scientist. But we're stepping in that direction that we would expect from someone who could competently complete that task.
And yesterday I tried to wrap the lowest agent with a mid-level agent who is doing this kind of research, and it worked like a charm. Did some research, but it always also had those cases where the queries wouldn't result in something useful. Saying the mid-level agent, hey, I was not able to find data because like SQL query failed.
I think you're very much in the weeds and focused on the brain, on the foundation, and whatever. Like you kind of stay focused on that. Awesome. Use your expertise there. Cool. So like another coffee and a croissant, and then get going.
Yes. Let's get going.
So we're gonna pretend and cut the sound out, and then we're done with gesticulating at some notes.
So genau.
Ganz genau.
I just applied my first fix, tried to give the agent, in case of error, the original tables and fields from the SQL that are known, and it made like the first huge improvement. We see here that it has like this error, and in the second request it fixed itself and got like the results. So we now have on our first case a proper answer. Maybe you're familiar with this question from the demo yesterday. Now we got the answer.
Yes.
No, it's just time to fix the other cases.
Video evidence. Okay, it is T-minus like 40 minutes until we have to submit the application for the actual contest. I'm still working on prompt engineering, but let's fill this out. So what do we need? Okay, so we've officially decided on Professor Dr. Scientist. We want to let the people know that we're serious, and this is a very capable.
Yes.
Yep.
You can't go more serious.
Yeah. I mean, that's like 10 years of schooling right there.
Max
TK.
The hours covered by.
Yeah, you got this one. Oh, wait, what about your name? Use a comma.
One sentence.
Fire your data analyst. I'm just kidding for any data analysts watching.
Analyst. I don't like the term chatbot.
Yeah. Assistant. I've been using assistant.
Utilizes
AI. I think that's good.
Researches by itself based on.
Wait, run that through GPT.
Yeah.
You are a marketing expert. Make this better.
Yeah. No, you're a. Let's find a better prompt.
You are
a startup founder
And you want VC money?
Yeah. No, hella VC money.
How?
Hella VC money. Obviously, want hella. Multiples.
This is my draft.
It's going to be difficult, but make it better.
No, not. I don't want the full pitch.
No, one sentence.
Actually, it behaves more like startup funders, right? Just one time later pitch.
Wow. Oh, autonomously? That's a power
That's
word.
actually
That's
super
a power
cool
word.
because it's also happening.
Actionable insights? Oh yeah, this has got
Okay, we got
VC
it.
written all over it. Did you?
Did it?
I don't think you did.
Hey.
Because I saw crunching
Or,
numbers.
no.
Yeah, it says
Oh,
crunch.
it kept that. So
Wait, what? It did?
it's crunch.
Why?
Yeah, it's
Okay. It's got by crunching. I like that.
yeah, it's crunch time.
Which,
No,
wait,
we
that's a
shouldn't.
good name. Crunch time.
It's for
Yo,
and then we are
Should we call
always
it crunch time instead? Would you like Professor Dr.
No,
Scientist?
it's best. Professor. Dr.
Thanks for
More.
keeping our brand, like our
If you
ethos.
have a logo, okay, no, we need a logo.
Time to use AI. Hey guys, so it turns out only a certain number of finalists will get to present, and out of 20 teams, Professor Dr. Scientist has been selected as one of the 6. In half an hour, we start presentations. Gotta work on our pitch.
That means worst case, we're placed 6, right? But best
Yeah.
case, we're top 1.
What's the prize again?
There was like credits for Luma, VV8. I mean, we could use
We could
all
sell
that
them.
stuff.
A term sheet.
In the term sheet.
Team term sheet.
Oh man.
All right, so I'm Max, this is Marcel, and we built Professor Dr. Scientist. It's a product analytics AI assistant. Why? My background's in UX, and very often on teams or startups that I've been at, I've felt disenfranchised from the data. I work at N8N, and today we have some very complicated telemetry that you sometimes have to write like 1,000 lines of Python to like generate a query. That's a bit of an edge case, but generally there's a lot of people in an organization that could benefit from the insights from product analytics that can't access it. And then the people who do know how to do that get swamped with all these basic queries that not really using their human brain power, right? They could be focusing on the hard problems. So we took on the challenge of, could we train an AI agent to understand product telemetry and be able to turn human language into aggregated insights? And so that's what we did. And so with that, thank you, Marcel, saved us there. And so with that, we've created Professor Dr. Scientist. Now, the way it's set up is it has a few different tasks that it can do. So Marcel, if you could click on auto segment users. So the way these tasks are structured, we have split our agents into 2 parts. These agents all have contextual domain knowledge on how to do the task. They also have an opinion on how the task should be done at a high level. This task expects a goal, and then it performs a user segmentation analysis on that goal. So we want to optimize for pricing. This is going to take about 2 minutes to run. So meanwhile, we'll show you what's happening on the back end. I'm here inside N8N, and if I go into the project, all the workflows that you see here are powering the front end and the back end. If we open up the auto segment agent, we can see what this is doing is on a new chat message, we grab some of the settings that we need, and then we have this analyst assistant. And here you can see the system message. This is built on top of LangChain, so it's rather similar. And we have some specific knowledge here, but the magic happens is in this tool, which actually can interact with PostHog and understand that. And that's what Marcel worked on. So while he opens that up, so you understand, our AI agent uses that tool process things under the hood, and it can think and reason over multiple steps.
Awesome, thanks, Max. So I go into the details with this particular agent. We are actually nesting agents because we wanted to have like an approach where we have like this foundational agent, which just takes care of fetching the data from PostHog, right? And the agent above that figures out with the state, the insights, follows in purpose, and figures out an answer. I would love to get more into detail, but time is running, so I hand over to Max again.
Yeah, so what's happening if we go back, let's see if our session's run yet. If not, we had some pre-made ones. So if you scroll up, so as you can see here, we want to optimize for pricing. We've identified some user segments, and this is all going to be something that we publish publicly, so you can run this on your own N8N account and stuff, so you can check us that we're not mocking this. But so this is coming from this specific task. Since we have 30 seconds, if you could swipe to the next tab, this is the Ask a Question session. So this is a different AI agent It's just a general agent that answers questions as best it can. So the other task was a hyper-specific one with context. This is the fallback one. So this one, same pattern. Thanks, everyone. And you can get NA10 50% off with max code max50.
Cut the cable, cut the cable.
Run. Thank you so much, guys. Well done. Next project here on stage. Journal I. You can show us. Big applause. Second place. Big applause. Second place. The prizes. 300 euros in credits for Mistral, VBA, and Luma AI. And to hand over this prize, I would ask Lenny on stage, one of our sponsors. And
you gotta announce what it is first.
I have to announce?
Otherwise, it's weird when I talk about it and people don't even know what I'm talking about.
I will do. Can you still come to stage? Don't show it, okay? Don't show it. Please. Is Professor Dr. Scientist.
Yeah!
Congrats, guys. We loved sort of how to the point your project was. You built it out so quickly. The demo worked well. You sat here, you pitched it in such an exciting way. Everybody was down for it. It seems like something profoundly useful for a lot of people, and you built it that quickly. Great job. So
Yeah, please.
Okay, last but not least, first prize. Read this again because the winner gets so many things. So it's 500 euros in credits for Mistral VBA.
Whoa. So, like, I don't know about you, but I was like, look, we're not gonna win. It's called, what is it? It's called Professor Dr. Scientist. If we ever forget, Mama, we made it. My mom's gonna be so proud. So do we get like VC funded now, and how does this work? I've never won a
hackathon.
I've never participated in
Where are the VCs?
Actually, I cannot participate in any other hackathons ever. It could bring my average down.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have thought that, honestly.
Guys, here, let's walk and talk as we do this.
let's
It's
walk
the
and
AI
talk.
sprint way.
So,
But guys, we were the only flowgrammers there, right? Everyone else was the native
everyone
code.
else was like, okay, we need to code that shit. We need to netlify backend. We need to use Next.js.
Oh yeah, and
Fuck it.
even the front end. Even the front end, we did like, this is not like, look, I don't think our enterprise sales team is going to recommend our enterprise customers to do what we did for the front end.
No.
But I think hackathons is where you show you push tools. Because sometimes in prod, you got to push as well. Shit happens.
Yeah.
We showed what you can do. And there was, like, remember some of the queries? That's when I really started getting impressed. When I was actually insightful. Because I think sometimes you're like, oh, well, look, guys, it's generating some characters. It's impressive for what it is today. And you always have the asterisk, like, for what it is today. There's things in there that I've been in a lot of rooms where we have these kinds of discussions. That would be a legitimate suggestion that someone of some level of seniority would put up their hand and suggest in a room based on looking at data. And that's what our Professor Dr. Scientist did.
Yeah, we had credits. I mean, we for sure could use them. And Luma, I mean, we know can, level up this little walking and talking vlogging game.
Yeah. And I hope they get Mistral through in a shirt. I wouldn't mind a Mistral shirt.
Ooh,
I feel like it's one of those companies that's hard to get swag.
Yeah.
Guys, honestly though, as part of this, I don't want to say this, because like this is day 28 or 29, I'm not sure, like I'm exhausted, but because I made a public commitment to do this, and then the love that I was getting, first it was a public commitment, but then getting the love from people, so I don't think I would have pushed myself this far if it wasn't the fact that we're doing this in public, getting feedback, getting people like, what about this? Because it was people kind of challenging me, what about this, and pushing, which was what kind of, I don't know if I would have agreed to be like, yes, let's commit to building a data analyst.
Would you have thought 30 days ago, when you planning this shit, that at the end of the month, you are winning in hackathon, or kind of winning, like from you, I consider the win. Second place.
I mean, but the winner's really cool product,
Yeah.
It's the kind of product where if I was a guy with money, I'd be like, hey guys, do you need pre-seed?
Yeah.
Maybe, like, I don't really know
Definitely.
pre-seed, but
Everyone wants to see that as app because it has such utility. And I think it won an AI hackathon without being just, like an AI product. It utilizes
thought about
AI
people.
so well.
It wasn't just like,
Yeah.
look, because that's what I thought a critique of our product a little bit was like, let's replace a human with AI.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of like a trope.
Yeah.
They did, it's cool, but hey man, our trope worked, and we're gonna have to probably clean it up and stuff for release, but we want you guys to see, because I
Yes.
think there was a lot of interesting patterns. I learned a lot from you and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we even do later a video where we go over and stuff, but we'll figure that all out. We're gonna go have some beers. But Marcel, I wanted to say, like, this was your idea. I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't be the winner of this. I wouldn't have this
You're
first experience.
welcome.
But thank you for this idea. Seriously, man.
It was such a good experience. Working with you, working as team. We had just a great time, right?
Yeah.
We were not here for the competition. We wanted to challenge for us. And
And
it was challenging.
I was
Indeed.
worried in a few points. You know what?
Yeah.
I was in the down.
Hackathon, right?
Marcel, I think this was a fun time. Not the last time we hacked together.
Oh yeah, for sure. Why not? We will do so much great shit.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to go have some beers. I think we earned it.
Yes.
Catch you on the next one.
Bye bye.